Welcome to the Superstar Communicator podcast. My name is Susan Heaton-Wright, a leading impact, speaking and communications expert. My aim is to show you how to make an impact so you will be heard, listened to and respected for career success. Listen weekly to the podcast and go to our website, superstarcommunicator.com. Hello everybody, this is Susan Heaton-Wright from Superstar Communicator. I hope you're all right. I'm doing this as a quick masterclass because things are changing really quickly. I'm in the United Kingdom and we have the coronavirus that is slowly taking hold over a life here, and understandably the government is putting into place precautions to avoid as many people getting ill as possible. But I'm not a medical person, but from what I understand, they're predicting that there will be up to 500,000 people that die from this virus. And they're mainly going to be people with already existing illnesses, so they are weaker. But one of the things that is probably going to happen is that we're going to be forced to work at home, to self-isolate and to take those precautions to try and manage the spread of the virus. But what I wanted us to think about really was, how do you lead and how do you work in a team when you're self-isolating, when you're working from home more? And one of the things that made me think about doing this particular podcast, and I've already blogged about it, was that last week Alan Stevens, who's a member of the Professional Speaking Association, created an online group on Facebook on remote speaking, because within the speaking world already there are cases of conferences and exhibitions where people speak, and also internally in companies. I'm going to be doing some masterclasses and workshops that it's likely that either they will be cancelled or postponed. And what do you do? And it made me really think about my business and to ensure that all of my clients know that I'm able to deliver speeches remotely. As an alternative, I can mentor or coach individually, virtually, and can deliver workshops online that are basically webinars. Obviously, there are different things you need to do. As the deliverer, the person facilitating the training, but essentially you need to make sure that you're still able to deliver great content. But in this instance, this particular podcast, I'm going to think about leading or being part of a team that's used to working together in an office. And for many people, that is something that is all part of being part of a team and running a project and things like that. And I believe that we need to make sure, particularly if you're leading a team, that you need to keep your team connected, focused, valued, and not to feel isolated. Now, home working still has a bad image. Unfortunately, certainly in the United Kingdom, I'm sure it's the same elsewhere, there is this presenteeism culture where for some people they feel that they're more valued within an organisation if they work longer hours. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are working more efficiently, but they have made sure that their bag and their jacket is over their chair so that people know that they're in the office. Whereas other people who might work very efficiently between 9 o'clock and 5 o'clock and then have to rush home to collect the children or go and look after elderly relatives and things like that. That basically they have a life. They are seen as less efficient and shouldn't be made partner or be promoted. Guess what? The number of times I see comments such as, oh, well, women aren't as committed because they don't work as long hours. Well, that's a load of rubbish, because actually it's how efficiently you work. You can be there in the office from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., but I wonder how long you're actually working and how long you're actually speaking about the football match at the weekend. Just saying. But anyway, let me move on from that. We know that we are going to have to change our mindset with working, and particularly working with a team, when you are actually working at home and self-isolating. And so I've come up with a few ways that as a team leader or a member of a team, you should consider to make sure that everybody feels connected and everybody feels that they can, continue the rapport and have a really good project management of a particular project. Also to reassure your clients, because remember that if you're delivering work for them, they are going to be concerned that it's going to be delivered efficiently and on time. So here we go. How can you efficiently build up a team rapport virtually? How can you continue to work as a team, particularly when you're used to working alongside each other and now you've got to work virtually? Well, I would set up a project management group. It might be that you already have one of these tools internally, but the two that I am aware of that a lot of people use that perhaps aren't in corporate are Trello and Asana, but there are other things. And that means to say that everybody is able to see where a project is going, what needs doing, what has been completed, ask any questions so that people can log into those things. You need to have some clear streams of communication. Let your team know how to contact you. You will need to avoid the assumption that you're not contactable. It's the equivalent of the manager or the leader in an office with the door closed all the time, so you don't feel you can talk to them. And this is even more important when you're working virtually, because you are going to feel quite isolated. When you're in an office, well, some offices people don't talk to each other. They're in their own world with their earplugs in and just talking to each other virtually. You might go round to somebody's desk and say, can I just ask you a question? Or, yell across the office if you're some people. But you need to use the phone, FaceTime, Zoom, Skype, because you are not in contact with other people. Making sure that it's human will ensure that everybody feels that they're not isolated. This is really, really important, not to just hide behind text messages and emails. Since you aren't seeing your team in person, make a point of having a conference call every day with the team at the same time. It doesn't need to be long. It could be 5-10 minutes, rather like on a Monday morning and say a Friday afternoon. Monday morning you share with everyone what the objectives are of the week, and at the weekend, on Friday afternoon, just sum up, see what you've managed to achieve. But because you're not seeing people, you need to do this more regularly. And even if it is 9:30 every day, just a little point of contact to keep everybody focused. As I write, I've been reading some posts from people in northern Italy who the government has told they need to be in self-isolation. So some of these people are living on their own. So they're not seeing their colleagues at work, they're not seeing their neighbours at all, and they are feeling really very, very isolated and lonely. And I've been reading messages from some individuals who are saying, please maintain contact with us because we're feeling very, very lonely and quite vulnerable. We don't know if there are members of your team, if you are working from home, who are going to feel very, very isolated and lonely. So, normally in a team, you might have some very very light-hearted banter. So, it might be a little bit of teasing about the rugby match at the weekend that England beat Wales, boo. But even so, that's the sort of thing that keeps people going. So perhaps you could have a theme of the day. You could get everybody to take a photo of what they're wearing. So you're going to have one or two people that are in onesies or a, a their tracksuit or something like that. You could have a photo of their favourite coffee mug, what everybody's having for lunch, tips for the best TV programmes to watch, great books to read, etc. Because working together is not exclusively about the project you're doing, but those extra little, what I call small talk things that just connect you in a human way. It's also really important to keep motivating others. When you are surrounded by your team, you can sometimes see or hear when somebody might be stressed or might be struggling with something, or they might want a pat on the back because they've done really, really well at something. But they could feel unsupported. So as a leader, you need to check in on everybody independently, privately, so it's not in front of the entire group, to make sure that they are okay, and if they need any guidance, any leadership, any tips, that you can provide that. Also, if you're in a team but you have got freelancers or suppliers, you need to maintain the connection with them because they might be really worried that there's no work for them. They might not know what's going on for them, that they might not have any work themselves. And crucially, your own clients need to be kept in contact because they need reassuring that the projects that you're working on with for them are still going ahead. So business development. If you were in the office, you would probably be having meetings and discussions with your team, your suppliers, stakeholders, clients, prospects. This moves a project forward. It is developing new business for you and business relationships. So don't forget to keep in touch with your existing clients, and not just by posting things on social media. Pick up the phone, send a specific email address, an email to people, perhaps even write a letter. You might be allowed to go to the post box to post some letters, and that is a great time to really reach out to your prospects and your customers with personalized things, because everybody's going to feel isolated. Training. Now, this is what I do, obviously. Many organizations and professions have regular training, and many of them require continuous professional development. There might be individuals who are training for a specific qualification. Younger people might be working towards A levels or examination at university, or even professional qualifications like accountancy, law, other things like that. Individual employees need to be reassured that you as the leader, or you the organisation, will get in contact with the organisers of the qualifications. I'm sure that they will be considering this, but you need to make it quite clear and reassure your team that you will support them and provide them with time in the future if they need to take the exams. Certainly from my perspective at Superstar Communicator, we've got a range of virtual training services, so we're able to deliver workshops virtually, and also mentor and coach individually virtually. And we have a couple of online and audio downloadable courses that are CPD accredited if people are desperate for some more points. Do look on the website. I think I'll put a link below of some of the things that we do. And finally, I believe it's really, really important to celebrate success, almost more than if you were in the office. One point of being a leader and being in a team is that, you know, at the end of the week, if everything's gone well, you'll go for a drink or somebody brings in a cake. If it's someone's birthday, the cakes appear. And I know that for a number of teams, Friday night, people will often go for a meal together if something successful has really occurred. It's very difficult to do this when you're working remotely. As a leader, you could actually send something like a box of chocolates in the post or get it delivered via an online merchant to the person's home. And that would be a massive thank you and boost for individual members of your team. They would feel really, really valued. And then say, right, we'll put in the diary for 2 months hence, and might have to get moved again, but when we're all back together again, we will arrange to go out for a meal or for a drink to celebrate this success, so that you've got something to look forward to, and you know everybody in the team will be together again. I'm sure that you've got some other suggestions, and I would love to hear them, because I want to collate them, and if there's anything of value that you can add to this, I would be so grateful. But in the meantime, I really, really want you to take care. Listen to what the government is saying about health, self-isolating, making sure that your hygiene, and particularly your bronchial hygiene, is really, really good. And until next time, this is Susan from Superstar Communicator. You have been listening to the Superstar Communicator podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and review the podcast on iTunes and on apps. Please contact us if you want to discuss any topic, could suggest a topic for us to include, or a guest who could come onto the podcast. Go to superstarcommunicator.com.